it'll at least a snapshot of what is in the inks now, so that 10 or 20 years from now, we have some record in case we need it at that point.
Absolutely. That actually brings me to ask you about what's in my ink.com and the efforts you've made there. It's a great resource. I've checked it out. It's got a lot of different um, compositional things listed there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, you know, our one of the things we learned really early on when we started thinking about this, and I think it's obvious to everybody here, but that the world of tattooers is, it's a very professional community, right? That it's a community that takes
Absolutely.
things very seriously. That safety, hygiene was really important. And what we felt was that there's this kind of gap in our understanding of inks, right? I'm not necessarily advocating for FDA oversight, but there is, at present, the FDA chooses not to exercise their oversight except
Yeah.
in very limited cases. And so when we started talking to tattooers in our area and saying, well, okay, what are you using for inks? Where do you get them from? What do you know about them, right? What do you tell us what you understand are in the inks, what you understand about the safety? We realized there was this sort of gap. And what I couldn't shake the concern of was that, there was this potential for mischief, right? Because there is no, there's nobody really sort of checking in terms of what's going in these inks. And, the popularity of tattoos is exploding, that I worried it could create the kind of environment where, somebody who was somewhat unscrupulous could, start throwing some inks together. Um, and as Guy pointed out, that may not last on the market for very long, but that's going to go into people. And it could have an impact. So that really bothered me, that tattooers and their clients were sort of obligated to kind of take everything at face value. And so we wanted to bridge that gap and create a resource that a tattooer could go to, look at what's in the ink, try to provide some insight in terms of our best understanding of the literature. Is this a potential hazard in here? Is this not a potential hazard? This is what we know. We're not saying use it or don't use it, but this is the best information we have. Do with that what you will. And our long-term goal is, there's so many inks out there, and of course, there's always new batches being made. We're also trying to take what we're doing in our lab with, sort of high-end research equipment and start developing analogs for high school and general chemistry labs at colleges to start screening these tattoo inks. Will they be able to achieve the same level of analysis that we can? Probably not, but our hope is that they might be able to start identifying inks that could be problematic, and then we can focus our efforts on studying those inks, and flagging something if there's a problem early on, before it takes a bunch of people having some horrible reaction to it, and sort of word zipping around the community.
Interesting. So, can you tell us about some of the chemical reactions that you're seeing that are initiated by light?
So that's an interesting question, and